everyone. Our webinar today is on retirement strategies. The webinar offers you an overview of retirement strategies and resources available at the Washington Retirement Marketplace, an overview of the financial benefit on individuals and families of starting retirement savings early, and an understanding of how individual retirement plans can leverage other retirement vehicles. The webinar audience is intended for professionals in the field whom we define as case managers, advocates, and financial counselors coaches to guide and contextualize the needs of your clients. Our trainers today are Carlos Garcia and Tracy Gunner. Carlos is the CEO and founder of FinHabits, and Tracy is the program manager for the retirement marketplace with the Washington State Department of Commerce. Thank you so much, Carlos and Tracy, for being here, and welcome everyone.
Yes, can you hear me? Okay, so I'm going to start first, briefly with my bio. The next slide. I am the CEO and founder of FinHabits, and we decided at FinHabits that we needed to make retirement savings easier and more accessible, and that's why we created a mobile application that allows anyone, regardless of race or income or education, to start saving for retirement. And our goal really was to help people to get started and develop that habit over the long run. I've been in the investment industry since I graduated from college, so that's a long time now. And this is one of my passions, helping people understand how to save for retirement. To the next. So one of the interesting things on retirement is, when you're young, you don't really think about how to put the money in different buckets. And what I mean is that, we just basically make money, but we don't really start thinking about the short-term bucket, the long-term bucket, and the medium-term bucket. And that's what I call here the 3-bucket rule. And what I would like to know, or what I would like everybody to know, is that how you fill up these buckets is very important. So of course we have to first fill in we have to start thinking about the day-to-day. We have to survive, and we have to make sure that we can support our daily expenses, and that's why we have the day-to-day bucket. That's the first one. Then the second bucket that we should be thinking about is the retirement bucket. And why retirement first and not midterm second? I wanted to talk about retirement because the retirement bucket has an interesting advantage. When we put money in the retirement bucket, we're actually making that money work for us. And I'll talk about what it means. That money that goes into the retirement bucket should be invested. And the other advantage, not only that the money is working for us, but the money that you're putting in the retirement bucket has has a tax advantage. It's usually placed in an account such as a 401k or an IRA, where there's a fiscal advantage that the government's offering us. And that means that the compound interest actually works even better. You can go to the next slide. So the problem we have is that nearly half of the workforce in this country doesn't have the option to save for retirement. And that's, goes back to the reason why we created FinHabits. And we need to make sure that almost everyone in the country has access to retirement savings. Otherwise, their only source of income when they reach retirement is going to be their Social Security. And as we know, sometimes Social Security is not going to be enough. So if we go to the next slide, here we talk about who is actually impacted by this retirement savings gap. And unfortunately, right, as you look at this chart, the more money you make, the easier it is for you to work in a corporation, or have your employer providing you with a retirement plan or pension. But most of the workforce is actually working, making under $63,000 a year, and that's where we see the problem. We go to the next slide. So we talked about the two types of accounts. And the two types of accounts that are commonly offered on the private sector is the 401k or the IRA. Just to explain the differences here. The 401k is something that your employer is going to offer you. Whereas the IRA, it's an account that you have to go and get. The 401k, it's an account that you and your employer will contribute money, whereas the IRA, it's only your money. Your employer cannot contribute money into the IRA. Then we come to the next one, which is the maximum allowed contribution. And this is for someone below the age of 50 years. So if you are working through an employer, you can contribute up to $19,500 into the 401k, whereas in an IRA, it's only $6,000. And this might sound like a disadvantage, but in fact, if you think about the average wage in the country, if let's say, just to keep it simple, $60,000, that's actually 10% of your annual income that you can put into the IRA. If everybody could put 10% of their annual income into the IRA, I would say the IRA, it's actually a perfect product here. And the reason I like it a lot is also for the next one, which is the portability. The 401k, it's a vehicle that it's tied to your employer. So when you move to another employer, you have to roll over your 401k so you can contribute working with that money. Sometimes we forget about the 401k, and sometimes we might end up with 4 401ks that we have to actually consolidate. So IRA, on the other hand, it's an account that follows you. So it's with you, and no matter if you go from job to job, that account will stay with you. So let's go to the next slide. So now let's talk about the power of starting early. That's why I said at the beginning, I wish I had known this advice when I was 20, right? Because the earlier you start, the better this compound interest can work for you. So this is an example of somebody who contributes $1 when they're 20, or $1 when they're 30, or 40 or 50, and then they wait until age 65. And what you see in the blue part of each of these charts is that if you had contributed $1 when you were 20, the gains are tremendous. And that's because the time is your best friend in this case. So the earlier you start, the better it works for you. This is a hypothetical illustration, and it assumes a 4% annual return. But this is actually something that everybody should be aware of. One thing that I usually tell my team members here is that when I started working at Merrill Lynch. So it was in a financial institution, and I was offered a 401k plan, but because it's one of these benefits that it's optional, and in that time there was no auto enrollment, so you had to opt in, and you had to sign the paperwork. I just didn't sign it because I didn't know what it was. It seemed too complex. So I didn't start with my, in my first job, I didn't have a 401k because I didn't know what it was. And back all these years, I still think that, had I started saving for retirement at that age, I would have taken advantage of that first chart, the one that you can see here when it says 20. So it's super important to start early. Now let's talk about the different, let's move now to the investment. If we move to the next slide, please, Alice. So here's a chart that shows how different investment products or different asset classes, they have different performance and different risk metrics. So as you can see, US government bonds tend to be the lowest risk asset class, but also has the lowest performance. On the other extreme, you have international stocks, and they have the highest performance, but they also have the highest risk. So the idea here is you have to be diversified when you're investing for retirement. And when you build the portfolio for your retirement, you have to have a little bit of everything. And if we move to the next slide, we're going to see, in real time, or throughout the line at the bottom, you can see. So you can see that there's a retirement date. That's number 0. If you look at the horizontal axis, and if you go backwards, you can see 45 years younger, 40 years younger, 35 years younger. So this slide just shows you how you as an investor in your retirement account should be thinking about risk. The more years you have before retirement, the more equity that you should have in your portfolio. And that's what you see in the early career part of this chart. Now, when you start shifting into your mid-career, the more fixed income you will start adding into your portfolio. And then finally, once you go through pre-retirement and move into the retirement phase, that portfolio shows that you should have more fixed income, so more bonds, and then a smaller portion of it should be in equity. Now, these age-based portfolios are also commonly known as target date funds. So luckily for anyone who is not an expert in creating these portfolios, they can just buy a target date fund, and they can have a target date fund in their portfolio, and the target date fund will take care of this for them. The target date funds usually have the date when you're supposed to retire in the name. So when you get a target date fund that says 2060, that means that by year 2060 is when you're supposed to retire, which will correspond to the retirement date in this chart. So these are very good vehicles if you don't want to be building your portfolio. And this is something that is also offered through the marketplace that I'm sure Tracy will talk about. If we go to the next slide, so I wanted to point out, right, the going back to the 3 bucket rule. What I didn't know on the 3 bucket rule is I didn't know how to think about these buckets, and I didn't know how to I didn't know what to expect. So when you're putting money into the day-to-day bucket, your expectation of return should be actually close to 0. No, the best value of the day-to-day bucket is that you have daily liquidity, real-time liquidity of your money. But when you're putting money in the retirement bucket, your expectation should be that money should grow approximately like 6-7% year after year. So that's where this slide comes into play. You need to be investing your money, and when you're putting money in your retirement bucket, because that's how you make this money grow over time. And that's how we like to tell our clients, you work so hard for your money, now you should make the money work hard for you. Well, that's what you do when you invest, especially in a long-term vehicle such as the retirement IRAs or 401ks. So finally, on the last slide, I have a quick table on the 2020 Savers Credit number. So what is the Savers Credit? If you don't know about it, that's because it's hard to find. But this is a very important credit that the government offers for low and moderate income workers in the country that are contributing towards their retirement accounts. So in this case, let me talk about the first line, which is the 50% contribution. So what does it mean? It means that if you are single and you make under $19,000 a year, and if you put $2,000 towards a retirement account, when you file your taxes, you could also file another form where you claim the Savers Credit, and you could get up to 50% contribution as a credit because you contributed $2,000 towards a retirement account that year. So that means that if in 2019 you put $2,000 into an IRA, and you're under that income level, then you're gonna be basically making $1,000 on your investment. It's almost like a 50% gain. So this is a very important tool to use, and this is what I said before. This is for low and moderate income workers. Now on the other extreme, at the bottom right box, you have a married couple that is filing jointly, and it's making under $65,000 a year. Well, they still get 10%. So if they put $2,000 in the retirement account, they can still get $200 from this Savers credit. So this is just to illustrate the different levels of income and what is the contribution per level of income. This is very important to be filed during the tax preparation. So this is something you should get your clients to ask during the tax preparation. I want to also point out that this is a credit. So that means that this is usually used when somebody, it's not going to be money that they receive. It's actually money that they receive from the IRS as a credit. So that's it for me. I'm here for questions and answers at the end, but I'll turn it out to Tracy.
Okay, well, thank you, Carlos. Really appreciate it. Again, as Alice mentioned, my name is Tracy Gunter, and I am the program manager of the Retirement Marketplace here in Washington State. The Retirement Marketplace is mandated by legislation in 2015. What it is a public-private partnership, in a sense, to get more people saving for retirement. And the intention is to make it easy for people to find plans and affordable. So that's kind of the twofold intention behind the legislation. The website itself is hosted by the Department of Commerce, and the intention there is to connect both businesses and individuals to private financial service providers offering those low-cost retirement savings plans. And both the provider and the plans themselves are verified by Washington state officials, specifically the Department of Financial Institutions, to ensure that the plans and the providers meet all of the requirements and abide by the law to be able to be listed on the marketplace. There's a couple of short videos that we put together to just kind of generally go over how the marketplace works. I've put a link to one right here, and so I just wanted to run through that real quick. It's about 2 minutes in length.
Everyone in Washington deserves the opportunity to plan for a secure financial future. If your business doesn't offer a retirement plan, you're not alone. Nearly half of all workers in Washington state don't have access to a workplace savings plan. That's a problem because we know that employees are 15 times more likely to save if their employer offers a plan. The Retirement Marketplace makes it easy to find and start an affordable retirement plan for your employees. The best news is that there are absolutely no employer fees. All plans on the marketplace have been verified by Washington state officials because you've got enough things to worry about. Mercedes owns and runs an authentic Mexican restaurant. Let's hear how the Retirement Marketplace allowed her to help the people she depends on.
When I first started, saving for retirement was not even an option. So when I found out I could offer my employees an affordable retirement plan, I signed up right away. Having a plan is great because it helps me attract and keep good workers, and I'm not charged a fee. It's really simple to navigate, and it's available in Spanish. I love being able to help the people who work hard for me to save for their futures.
With the Retirement Marketplace, you can choose from several types of plans. Your business won't pay any fees, and your employees only pay a small administrative fee. Are you ready to help your employees save for their future? Then go to theretirementmarketplace.com. because a financially secure future is closer than you think.
Thank you. And so that video, we actually made two of them. One is geared towards business, that one specifically is. And there's another little video, so about same length, that is geared towards individuals. Next slide, please, Alice. To just run over a few of the marketplace features. Like I said before, the site offers retirement plans for both businesses and individuals. It allows for that easy way to compare plan features and help you choose a plan that best suits your needs. There are no employer fees for those plans who are business focused, and all individual accounts fees, whether it's an individual IRA account or a business plan, cannot exceed 1% of the balance. This was built into law and serves as a significant added value over the private plans that you can find in the market, on the private market. All plans are verified by Washington State Department of Financial Institutions, and all plans are portable, talking about what Carlos had mentioned, meaning folks don't have to start over if they switch jobs. And so that's really important in today's kind of economy with gig workers and people switching back and forth. One employer may offer a plan, one may not. If you have an individual plan, you can just keep it with you wherever you go and contribute, regardless of the employer contribution or the employer offering a plan specifically to you. Use of the marketplace is completely voluntary for both businesses and individuals. There currently is no mandate in Washington State for an employer to offer a plan or for anyone to participate in a retirement plan. So again, this is a matter of encouragement for voluntary options for folks. And last, knowing retirement planning can be very overwhelming, kind of part of the reason why we're doing this webinar today. We also provide information and educational resources to help both businesses and individuals understand the importance of saving and determine what type of plan is best for them. Next slide, please, Alice. So I just wanted to familiarize everybody just a little bit. We are going to go directly to the site, and I'm going to review just briefly the education and resource sections, the plan comparison page, which includes a general summary of each plan, and then the details of each plan and how to get connected to a provider. So we will go there now. Kind of in that order, then we will just take a look at the resources available. So this is our homepage, and you can see on the very top the navigation, the resources up there on the very right. Today we'll just look at the resources available for individuals, but you can see we have quite a variety of things there. So on this page, and they're all kind of set up very similarly. We have some information in this kind of top accordion section if we want to expand on one of those. It just talks a little bit, for example here, about individual retirement accounts, both the traditional and the Roth. And a lot of times we'll add in a link to an outside resource that you can get more information on, and there that is there. In that case, that connects up to the IRS site. Scrolling down just a little bit further, we just have, again, some more direct links down here. For example, that calculator, which is the first there. You can go in here and click in how much money you make, what your age is, an estimated return value, and just kind of start getting an idea of how much money you want at the end, with how much money you need to start saving now or today. Or kind of opposite, how much money you're able to put aside today and how that may grow over time. Especially for the young folks, as Carlos had mentioned, the sooner the better. Even small amounts make a big difference. So yep, you can go ahead and go back there. So again, the resources are very similar for both employers, individuals, and some general resources there. So take a look. It is a good place to get information on retirement planning, generally speaking. In regards to the plans themselves, the available plans, we can go ahead and go there. We are very happy to have FinHabits here with us today as one of our providers. Saturna Trust Company is a second provider. And you can see here on this page, this is the side-by-side comparison that at least gives you an idea of what types of plans are on the website, and just a very brief summary about what that means. What is a Roth IRA? What is a solo 401k? To get more information, you click the Learn More button right here. We'll go in here, and this will give you a lot more detail about the FinHabits Roth IRA plan. Some general information up top, and then when you scroll down on this page a little bit here, what you'll do, and each one of these details pages are the same. You can click in any one of these for more details to see what the eligibility is to be able to open a plan, to see what the fees are, to see what your investment options are. Specifically on this investment option, and we won't go into that per se, but the little tickers are here. And if you click on one of the tickers, what you'll see is the investment performance history over the course of time. Now, people might get a little overwhelmed by that. Kind of going back to what Carlos was saying, a lot of times folks can choose a target date fund and kind of have that knowledge that balance is kind of built into those. You can see, for example, here, the Vanguard Target Retirement Fund series that FinHabits provides or offers here. And each one of those is a different retirement date, as he was noting before. Ultimately, how you get connected to the private financial institutions, FinHabits in this case, is you click the Start Saving button. And what that does is it just connects you to that private financial institution and gets you going on building and setting up your individual retirement account, or gets you connected if you're a business to talk to the private financial institution about how to go about setting up an account for your business. So that's essentially how the website works and how we are encouraging its use. I know many of you all out there work with asset building coalitions. You may be working with the free tax preparation sites. Carlos had mentioned the Savers Credit. It is a really good time. I know you guys are interacting with a lot of folks out there right now. If in your conversations you're talking about retirement plans and the importance of those, we would really encourage you to help steer folks to the retirement marketplace kind of for that easy, affordable, safe option for folks there. So again, I too am here to answer any questions that anybody may have. Alice, I don't know if you want to direct people on how to do that, but that does wrap up our formal presentation, unless anybody has any questions or comments.
Yes, for any questions and answers, please go to the Q&A and post your question there, and then I would be happy then to provide that information to Tracy and Carlos, and then they will respond. So please feel free to go to the Q&A and post your questions there. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that. I also want to let everyone know that the PowerPoint will be available as well as the recording. So there is a question. So Tracy, are you offering this training to a community networking group? Are you able to do this?
I am absolutely looking for any and all opportunities to get out there and talk about the marketplace. There are so many different community groups that are working with individuals and or any business communities that you have business gatherings that you have in your communities. I am more than willing to either do this presentation via webinar, in live and in person. I am absolutely open and wanting your suggestions on where I should go to be able to deliver this information. I also have a lot of marketing type materials, whether it be rack cards or FAQs. I have a lot of hard copy things, those little videos. I have a quick link that could be posted. So we have a lot of different ways that we are trying to get the word out about the marketplace, but be happy to be contacted directly if you have any suggestions on where I should be or who should be hearing about this.
So Tracy, one of the questions was specifically for the local planning areas and also WorkSource. And I guess that also brings a question that I might have for you and Carlos. So for example, somebody going through WorkSource and maybe they were previously employed and had a 401k or a 403b, is that something that they can roll over into the marketplace, into an individual IRA?
Carlos, you want to take that one?
Yes, this is something that anyone can do. If they go, they first need to open an account, and they can do it at FinHabits, like Tracy was showing, and then once the account is open, then we can help them roll over their old 401k.
Great.
And can I tack on to that one a little bit? Somebody else was recently asking me in terms of if folks are out there helping people file their tax return. So that is also something similar. If that is a kind of a one-time influx of income for folks, and we are encouraging to put some at least into a retirement savings plan, we cannot currently have a income tax return put directly into the IRA, but what you would do is have your direct deposit into your checking or savings account, how you would normally do it, and then you can set up through FinHabits, in this case with an IRA, the ability to do a direct transfer once that refund hits and get it into the IRA. And Carlos, please, I think I have that right. If I don't, please correct me on that.
Yes, that's right. You will then do it on your FinHabits account. You can say, on this date, I want to transfer X amount. Once you receive the refund, you can do that very easily through the FinHabits account.
And I guess, and I'll just say one more thing on that, we are also trying to encourage people to start saving on a regular basis. So not only can you set up one-time transfers of money like that, but through FinHabits, you can set up, on the first of each month, I want $10 to go into my savings account, and then that kind of sets up that habit for regular savings.
Thank you so much, Carlos and Tracy. Do we have any other questions? We do have another question. This is a follow-up about the connection to WorkSource. Their business solutions team might be a good outreach partner. So that's more of a comment, FYI, for you, Tracy, the business solutions team.
I have, and thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, any feedback and suggestions are welcome. I am working through ESD, which kind of coordinates all of that WorkSource. We are doing a pilot effort through, and I'm just trying to remember where we were at. Kitsap County is what I want to say. Out there in terms of getting that the information in the direct hands of individuals out there. He threw it out to everybody. It was kind of lukewarm received. Those folks out in Kitsap County said, hey, we will do this. They were very excited about it. Yeah, let's see, One Stop Olympic Workforce Development Council serving Clallam, Jefferson, and Kitsap counties. And so that started happening back, I would say late fall last year. So I was really, I'm looking forward to how that's been received and then them sharing that information with their other work source partners and seeing if we can get that going in more places.
Great. Thanks so much, Tracy. So any other questions? A lot of good feedback here. Anything else out there? So again, the PowerPoint will be made available and the recorded webinar as well for those that registered. This will end our webinar. We're ending a little bit early, but if you do have any questions, feel free to email me directly. My email address is acoday, C-O-D-A-Y, @everyoneiswelcome.org, and I will pass those questions on to Tracy and Carlos and put together a Q&A to send out to everyone. Again, thank you so much for attending today. And again, thank you, Tracy and Carlos, for this really valuable information. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.